This is a minor that Rebbe said privately in his room to Bachim that were going off on Yechidus, on Bachim Shlichus to the yeshiva in Australia in Tafshin Lamed Gimel. And he spoke about the idea that a person should, since there has to be Ava and Achdus amongst Yidden, there has to be unity. And even though when Yidden leave to different places, they separate, that might cause a separation because of the separation of time and place. But since Torah is beyond time and place, therefore it causes that even in time and place, that it rules over, that by sharing words of Torah, it causes that they will be joined by the memory of what they learned together. Now the Rebbe is going to focus on the particular expression that Chazal uses. The Chazal uses al yipater adam mechaveiroi ela mitoich dvar halach. That a person should not leave and say goodbye to his friends only out of a matter of halacha. It doesn't say al yipater adam mechaveiroi mitoich dvar Torah, but it says a person should not leave his friend out of al yipater adam mechaveiroi mitoich dvar halach. And this is what the Rebbe is going to question, why specifically halach. So we're holding on the first page of the Maamar, line 15, after the parentheses. We need to understand, why specifically do you need to have a matter of halacha to be able to ensure that and because of that they're going to be the union amongst the Yidden, etc., etc. You could have that seemingly even without a Dvar Halacha, just Torah in general. Torah is beyond time and place, and therefore that joins the Yidden. Then the Rebbe brings another idea that is brought down later in the Gemara, not specifically or directly connected with this. So Gibba will soon see, or we'll see how the Rebbe is connecting it. It goes on line 16. Will come the Gemara later on the Gemara. The Gemara darshans a pasuk. It says Maidachsi. What it says in the pasuk in Yirmiyahu, the Eretz Hashaloi Avar Ba'ish, a land that no man crossed it, below Yoshav Adam Sham, and Adam did not settle over there. Simple meaning of the pasuk is it's an uninhabited area. No Adam ever passed through it and not been settled over there. But the Gemara is going to be bedayik specifically that Adam is responsible for Yoshav means a whole new idea. The pasuk, by the way, is talking about Yidden when they went out of Mitzrayim. They went through a wilderness that nobody was settled over there, nobody passed through it. So the Gemara says, line 17, Loy Malach, this pasuk comes to teach you, Kol Eretz Shegozer Allah Adam Arishon LeYishuv Nisyash, any land that Adam Arishon decreed and said that it should be settled would eventually become settled. Adam Arishon looked at the whole world and said, this area will be settled. Kol Eretz Sheloy Gozer Allah Adam Arishon LeYishuv LeYisyash, any place that Adam Arishon did not decree that it should be settled, was never settled. In other words, that's the meaning Lo Yoshav Adam Sham on the deeper sense of the Gemara, that Adam Harishon was the one that made it be settled. How did he make it be settled? By his proclaiming it as a place of settlement. But the Rebbe says, line 19, we do idea because that's known the question. In the Maamar, the Rebbe talks about this as well. Why is this idea of the settlement of the world dependent upon Adam Harishon? What is it about Adam Harishon that he is the one that makes certain areas of the world settled? So the Rebbe is first going to say, well, Adam Harishon was in possession of the whole world. He was the only human being at the time. Even though in the simple sense, this was because Adam Addition higher Shoilet Bechol Olam Kula, because Adam Addition then ruled over the entire world. The Kol Mokum still in all. A dying son of Allah, we still need to understand. How the Adam Addition Yara Lamata, Adam Addition descended down here below, in such a way that everything was already ready for the meal. In other words, the Gemara uses the term, why was Adam Addition created last? Just like you have a wedding feast, prepare an entire wedding feast. And after all the preparations that could take many days and many weeks, then who walks in last after the chefs and after the caterer and after who's the last one to enter? The guest of honor, the chasna kala. So the same thing, Adam Addition was created last, even though he's the most important. Maybe he should have been created the first, but if he was created the first, he would have been created in an empty world. So first Hashem prepared the whole party, prepared 6 days of creation, 5 days of creation, made a world with the trees and flowers, everything you need. And then he brought it in Adam like a person that's ready for a meal. Like the Gemara explains in Sanhedrin. So that was already set and established. All the matters around it, meaning the entire world was set up the way it's supposed to be set up. Also including the difference that this location is appropriate to be settled, and this place is not appropriate to be settled. In other words, you didn't need Adam Addition's declaration. The world was already created, sections that were good for human habitation, and areas that are inhospitable. People are not going to go living like the Eden went through the desert. They're not going to go living in the desert. It was already by the nature of the thing before Adam Addition proclaimed to say, well, people shouldn't live in the desert. The world's already set up. This was desert, this was not desert. So it was already set up that the world would not be hospitable in certain areas. What was added in the fact that they needed specifically the Adam Addition's decree and proclaiming, that's somewhere where a person will inhabit. That is not. Is in the second page of the Maamar. The point of the explanation is this. In this, the conclusion of the matters, according to what's explained in Maamar Chassidus, the Torah is beyond time and place. It is beyond not just time and place in the physical world, but also time and place in any type of form, in any type of way, in any type of level. To this we know explain that not only is there physical time, but there's spiritual concepts of time as well. And there's a spiritual concept of space. And those spiritual concepts of time and spiritual concept of space is the source and the root for the physical concept of time and space down here below in our world. But so if we say that Torah is beyond time and space, like we mentioned before, that because Torah is beyond time and space, it can cause a unity across time and space of people that have been separated. So we say that Torah is beyond time and space. It's beyond even time, the way it's in the worlds of Bri, Tzir, beyond time, what's called Seder Zmanim and so on, the order of time, which means that first there's A and then there's B, even though in time they come simultaneously. That's in the world of Atzilus, or even higher than that. Dima v'ichur, it's called. And the same thing, concepts of space, place, meaning what's concepts of place? So we know that there is place in the physical sense, and place in the spiritual sense is, like we say, this Chacham is higher than that Chacham. That's a spiritual place. Spiritually, that Chacham is higher, is in a higher place. So we see, and Torah is beyond even these type of spiritual divisions of time and space, and time and place. How come? Why is Torah beyond time and place? So he says in line 12, Lefishat Torah, Mushreshes, Ba'atzmus Mahus, because the Torah is rooted in Hashem's very essence. So therefore, since the Adon to such degree, it's not just rooted there, but Torah and Hashem are entirely one. So since they're entirely one, and Hashem is obviously beyond time and place, so too Torah is beyond time and place. The truth, Torah is not the only thing that's rooted in Hashem's essence. It says in line 14, V'kach gam nishmas Yisrael mishroshim ba'atzmus mahu sotu neshamas of Yidden are rooted in Hashem's very essence. Valzen, Maamar Bazoyer, concerning this, it says in the Zohar, Plus Dargin Ilun Yisrael, Araisa v'Kutshabrichu. There are three levels, Yidden and Torah and Hashem. And he's going to talk about the unity that Torah creates and makes that joining. So he says, line 17, the Zohar adds and emphasizes the Zohar says that there is the revealed part of all these three of Hashem, Torah, and Yidden, and there is the concealed part, the hidden part, the closed off part of Torah, Hashem, Torah, and Yidden. What does that mean? When you have these three levels, that means from the concealed part of Hashem, in other words, the hidden, most essential level of Hashem, not just the revealed part, the Giluyim, the Amshachis, the Ha'aris, but the most closed off and concealed part of Hashem. When you're talking about concealed and closed off, you're talking about all the way to Hashem's essence. Nimshach ad legalia shabi Yisrael. It comes down even to the most revealed part of the Yid. In Chassidus, it speaks about different ways how that works, either through the concealed part of the Torah, the concealed part of the Yidden connects with the concealed part of Hashem, through the revealed part of the Torah, the revealed part of the Yidden connect with the revealed part of Hashem, or it's the concealed part of the Torah is connected to the revealed part of the Torah, the concealed part of Hashem is connected to the revealed part of Hashem, the concealed part of the Yidden is connected to the revealed part of the Yidden, and therefore it's like a ladder that even, the main point is that even the revealed part of the Neshama, even the way Neshama comes down into the Neshama, into the body down here, it still is connected with Sosim, with the Etzem of the Eibishter. So we see that this union that there is with Hashem and the Yidden is the highest level of Hashem, level of Hashem's very essence, with even the lowest level of the Neshama, the Ha'ad of the Neshama, the level of the Neshama that's enclosed in the body. In a similar vein, Yisrael likes Kuchabrichu. We say Sosim V'Galia. It's in all levels of the Yidden, through all levels of Hashem. The same thing. Torah is also part of that equation, the Sosim V'Galia. That means as well that the Torah's connection with Hashem is not just the concealed level of Torah, the hidden secrets of the Torah and so on, but even the most revealed and most practical, down-to-earth parts of Torah. What's the most practical, down-to-earth part of Torah? The oral Torah. The oral Torah is the halacha, the practical. What do we do in actuality when it says in Krishma, what does that mean? Where do you have that? You have that in Torah Shabbat Peh. That's the halacha. That's the lowest manifestation of Torah. Let's see it inside. Line 21. So to in Torah, the way that descended, in a way of a chain descent, many levels, until even the combination of physical letters made with ink written on a piece of parchment, let's explain in time, that is one of the lowest manifestations of Torah. The way it's in a physical parchment, that is still connected with Hashem's very essence. That is an example. That's an example in the written Torah where we see that the manifestation in the lowest levels. And afterwards it comes down even lower. The way Torah is enclosed in a revealed way in all matters of the world. What we spoke about before, the halacha, that is in the oral Torah. The oral Torah deals with the physicality and the practicality and the down-to-earth aspect of this world. Torah Shabbat Peh, as we know, Torah brings down from Eitz Chaim is called the tree of knowledge. Why is it the tree of knowledge? The tree of knowledge has in it both good and bad. The same thing. Torah relates not just to the good, but even to the bad. Until there's even disputes in Torah. How can there be disputes? Because we're dealing with things the way it's in its lowest level. Because but I'm like it's brought down that I'm the part of the Zoyar, the Mevur Bigeres HaKodesh L'Rabbeinu up on top of page Zayt, like it's explained also in the Geres HaKodesh of the Alter Rebbe about this idea about how the Torah descends, the Torah Shabbat to the lowest most level, and that's why it's called Eitz Hadas and so on. And this is still Torah Shabbat is still not yet the halacha part, even though core part is halacha. Torah Shabbat Peh Guf, and in the oral Torah itself. There's the matter of Hashem being manifested more in a revealed way, and the way that Hashem is being manifested in a more concealed way. And there's a big where and when is Hashem's presence more revealed? That's revealed in a ruled halach. The Geras HaKodesh appears. Maamar is explaining the Geras HaKodesh in the explanation of the Maamar Chazal. Why Dafk is halacha psukim, a place that shows and manifests more the connection with Hashem. I'll say, Kol Ashrei Na'alokas Kol Yoyim Muftuch Ben Olam Haba. Whoever repeats and reviews and studies halachas daily, he is assured that he is entitled and he has the world to come. So, interestingly enough, just like Al Yipter on Maxhaveru, it says Al Yipter on Maxhaveru El Matov Dvar Halacha. It doesn't say just Torah. The same thing. It doesn't say Kol Aloy Torah B'Chol Yoyim Muftuch Ben Olam Haba. But it says halachas dafka, specifically someone that studies and reviews halachas. What is the significance of halachas? Halachas, brudas, psukas, halachas l'maisa, clear halachas that are ruled halacha l'maisa. Jebahem bal the degilu rots na elyin kvishahu, that in them the person comes to revelation of the supernal will, the way it is. It is Hashem's will coming down here, not like where you have the disputes, not like we have the discussion. You don't know what Hashem's will is. Is the halacha like, let's say, Rabbeinu Tam that gives one type of order of the parshas of film, or the halacha is like an Ashi? So therefore, the Hashem's will is not manifest. Hashem's wisdom, yes, but not His will. But not in such a way prior to determining the halacha, where it could lean this way, it could lean that way, it could be perhaps like Beis Hillel, it could be perhaps like Beis Shammai, we don't know yet. Before we have established the halacha, where all the various opinions are equal over there, so then that's an idea of division. Why is there the division in Torah? Because here we're talking about Torah the way it comes down, the way of being understood, and it's a way of being explained. And when you're dealing with intellect, explanation, understanding, then there's 49 ways how you can go ahead and say something is tahor, and then you can have 49 ways that will tell you the opposite of tahor. He brings a story with Moshe Rabbeinu that he told Hashem, tell me what the halacha is. So Hashem told him, follow the majority. If there's majority that say that this is correct and good and so on, and the person is right, so then that's what you do. The majority say he is not right and so on. Why is that so? Because the Torah is something that is darshan 49 ways to the good and 49 ways the other way. So there's all possibilities in the Torah. Even a higher way than just saying because it's understanding. So therefore there is all these different divisions. But both words, both views before the halacha has been determined are still the words of the living Hashem. Though there's all of these that say that it's good and right and so on and kosher, and all he says it's the opposite of that. So that is all fine and good. It's part of Torah, it's Havana Vasag, it's understanding, but it's not yet rot. We don't know yet what Hashem's will is. So it's not yet the level of Rotzain. Only in Halach is it revealed, line 15. The Rotzain Shalamaylam Mimailus HaChachma, the will that's beyond the level and quality of Chachma. Even there, where there are reasons and explanations in Seichel. So why do you tell me that the final conclusion is the will that's beyond Chachma? If I can explain the reason why, so seemingly there is Chachma, it's not beyond Chachma. There's a reason, there's an understanding. So the Rebbe says, what we understand about mitzvahs, what we can explain about mitzvahs, even the rational mitzvahs like Mishpatim and Eidos, that's only the edge of it. Similar to what's explained in the Geras HaKodesh, the time in mitzvahs concerning the reasons of the mitzvahs, that they are beyond understanding and comprehension. And the Alter Rebbe says, how do we say that the reasons of the mitzvahs is beyond understanding and comprehension? Seemingly, there are aspects of mitzvahs that are understood. The Rebbe explains, even in some places where we find that was revealed and explained a particular reason that we could understand. So the Alter Rebbe defends himself. How does he say that the reasons for the mitzvahs are beyond understanding if we do find reasons that we could understand? The Alter Rebbe explains in the Geras HaKodesh, what we understand of the reasons of the mitzvahs, that's not the ultimate. That's not the final reason and its limit as much as it's as the reason is. But rather within the mitzvah, within the reason that we do understand, enclose the inner part and the concealed part of Chachma. It's beyond Seichel and Avona, as we know that the true essence of Chachma is what's the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, Moker HaChachma Seichel, beyond understanding and comprehension. Well, essentially, the point that the Rebbe is saying over here is that halacha transcends intellect. Halacha is the will of Hashem beyond it. Once we understand that halacha is beyond intellect, the level of Hashem's will, now we're going to understand what is the unique property of halacha to be able to affect that the two people should not be separated by time and space. It says on line 23, there's a need to draw down through the Torah from Hashem's very essence. They live full Inyan Bengali to be able to affect something in a revealed way. If we need that connection with Hashem's essence, that should be revealed down here below. What can affect that? What can bring from Hashem's essence down here below specifically? Where in this world will we see a manifestation of Hashem's essence? And it's Dafka did Dvar Halacha, specifically through a matter of Halacha. Boy, because in the matter of Halacha, the will is revealed. That's the vessel for drawing down godliness. So when we need Hashem's very essence, that is Halacha, is the instrument, the channel through which it comes down. Any questions before we go on? The page. Valpi is a Yuvon, according to this. Now that we've established that Dvar Halacha is the real means for drawing down Hashem's very essence into this world in a revealed way. According to be understood, Maamar, what the Chazal said, that a person should not say goodbye to his friend only out of a matter of Allah. The idea behind this is the Isa Bekisve Arizal is brought down the writings of the Arizal. The Adam v'Chaverei, top of page Ches, Al Yipter Adam Michaverei. What is considered in the spiritual worlds Adam and his friend? So he says, Koi al Arich Ampin Uzeir Ampin. It's referring to the level of Arich Ampin and Zeir Ampin. Arich Ampin is the midas, the spheres, the way they are in Kesser, and therefore they are believable. That's why they're called Arich, long. And then there's Zeir Ampin, the small faces, that's the midas, the way they are in Atzilus, and they're movable. So that's a division, because essentially they're very similar. They're both the midas and the spheres. On the other hand, this one is believable, this one is Gvul. So you have that separation. This one's in Kesed, this one's in Atzilus. And therefore, and similar to this, because of this, that there is that type of level of separation above, there's the idea of a Adam leaving his Chaveda concerning the general idea of the descent of the Neshama down here below. That the neshama descending down here below is considered separating from above. So there's the Adam and Chaveri separation between the neshama saying goodbye and going on a trip and going down Lamata. Either from a high building to a high roof to a deep pit and dungeon. Until there's the idea that Yidden are considered that you descended to Mitzrayim, and there's a Yezahara amongst you. And that is a reason why Moshe Rabbeinu countered the Malachim's request about them being given the Torah, because did you then descend to Mitzrayim? You don't need that Torah to create a bond, even though there was a separation, that there was the Neshama came down all the way down here and descended into Mitzrayim and descended with a Yezahara. Hey, Magdam HaKadosh Baruch Hu Inyan the Barasi Loi Torah Tavlin. Says the Gemara says that Barasi Yetzahara, Hashem says, I created a Yetzahara and I created the Torah as a medicine for it, a preventative thing, a spice for it. What specifically? Of all the parts of Torah, what is the real Tavlin that assures the protection from the Yezahara, meaning that there shouldn't be this type of separation between us down here and above? That is the Dvar Halacha, meaning the separation of the Neshama coming down here below. How do you ensure they shouldn't be separated through the Dvar Halacha? Through the Dvar Halacha becomes a total oneness and unity. Kulachad, entirely one, like we said, we have that unity with Hashem. Even when we leave our source above through the descent of Neshama down here below. So just like what ensures that we shouldn't be separated from Hashem above, we shouldn't be Yipter Ad Mechaver. It's just through the learning of halacha, because that brings down Hashem's very essence down here. So in a similar vein, there's the idea of Al Yipter Ad Mechaver B'Negel Chalech and Yisrael B'Yachas Chaver Chulu. So too, there's the not separation of a person from his fellow concerning every single Yid in regards to his own personal fellow down here. that the halacha, which draws down Hashem's very essence, ensures that we transcend time and place, because Torah rules over time and place. Specifically, halacha does so because halacha is the expression of Hashem's will, Hashem's essence. Therefore, it creates it causes a unity, and despite the separation down here below.